Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today.
It's all right. Thank you. Well, good morning. Today we have a wonderful guest, and I cannot wait to go through her book, The Wow Factor. We have Tammy Fink today, all the way from Missouri. And we're going to talk about her book, Wow Factor. So that's the title of our show today is Wow Factor. And we're going to get everything we need from Tammy Fink. So listen up, get your pen and paper, and pay attention because this is her, what I like to call her wheelhouse. And so I'm going to let her take it from there. But what I want to start with Tammy, because whenever I introduce someone to the audience, I want to make sure that they know a little bit about them so that they can then understand why they do what they do. I remember back in 2013, I used to do a podcast, and it was always about the whole fact of why people do what they do and why they love what they do. And you have such an enthusiasm for what you do that first, I want to welcome you to the show, Mother-Daughter-ish. And then I want you to share something with our audience that they can't just typically go and Google about you, but tell them how you got your business started, what you do, the name of your company, where you're from, and then we're going to get into the wow factor because I am ready to be wild.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love this. I've been looking forward to this all week, Dawn. So I'm super excited to be here. So
I was excited you accepted because I was like, I know we're all busy and everything, but I was like, I've been saying I need to get her on the show for over a year. So let's just make it happen. So when you said, let's make it happen, I was like, okay, I can make it happen.
I love that. So I am Tammy Fink. I'm author of The Wow Factor. I'm also a B2B consultant where I go in and help clients to create some amazing onboarding processes. And we'll talk about that later. Yes. But with the book, I have been in design and marketing for over 30 years. And I've worked with some really cool names. I've worked with Hershey's and Cinnabon. I've worked with Mighty Mouse, for those of you who are old enough to know who Mighty Mouse was.
Yeah.
And really that that sounds a lot sexier than it really is because it just means that I work with their attorneys a lot.
Right.
And so, but I've done some amazing projects for clients all over the globe. And it's been really an incredible journey. And, you know, one of the things that I had kind of started seeing was while we could create these amazing brands for clients, you know, that they worked really hard for, they were kind of missing this piece of connection. And that's really when I wrote The Wow Factor, that was the piece that I really wanted my clients to have understood. This wasn't going to be, you know, 50 Shades of Pink. This wasn't the bestseller, right? But this was the book that I really wanted my clients to have read.
Yeah.
I love that part of it.
And you know what I got excited about is because when I saw that you produced your book, and I thought to myself, I knew her when she was in the phases of saying, I want to do this book. I want to do this book. And remember what I told you, I was like, do it. You're the expert at it. Do it. So when I saw that you had done it and I went on Amazon, I don't know why I still get excited when I go to Amazon and I see a book, you know, that I have up there or somebody that I know has up there. It's just like, I look at it like, okay, we're there with everybody else. All right. Continue about this.
No, that's an amazing analogy because it is one of those things. You know, writing the book and stuff, you know, I learned so much from you. There's been so many things that I've kind of put through when we started this journey pre-COVID.
Right.
You know, I ended up doing 3 books total, you know, from in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
You know, you were there with me part of that journey. And I think for me, you know, building, like I said, building these connection pieces with people, I think was the most important thing that I did during that time. So I think that was a great segue into everything else. Something that you can't find out about me on Facebook, and you can probably find everything by stalking me on Facebook. One of the things that I like to talk about that I think is kind of fun and interesting that not everybody's had the opportunity to do
Uh-huh.
is that my first marketing experience working is I was actually a 6'2" Web City Cardinal mascot
What?
when I was in high
Hot
school.
under that
Yes.
thing. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, I always have so much respect for mascots, especially like, you know, they used to have the Wenzel, you know, dog. They have the Chick-fil-A cow. I have so much respect for them because I know it's hot under that thing. Wait a
It was
minute.
crazy
It
hot.
had 6 foot?
6'2" with the head. The head was huge. You couldn't get in a bus with the head on. It was a whole experience. But it was my first marketing experience, and I hadn't
Right.
really thought about it. But I was the face of the football team, right? The championship football team. I was the face of that. That was I was out there in the middle of everything, and everybody watched. You know, everything that you did was out there, and I was a representative, you know, for the whole school. So that was cool.
That is very cool, but it also sounds exciting because, you know, the mascots, they have so much personality, and whatever personality they exude, it gives everybody the precedence of like, this is who this team is. I have so much respect. Hey, hats down to you. I never knew that. So see, right? Even all the time I spent, you know, chatting with you and talking with you and planning with you, that's even something I didn't know, but I'm so excited that you shared it because it's like, you did what? So that is so cool. All right. So now you are from Missouri, but you travel everywhere. You do whatever it is that you want to do because you have the freedom to do that as a business owner. Now, how many years have you owned your business, Blue Water Design?
2004. I was a corporate designer.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a corporate designer and went over the wall. My husband relocated us to Branson, Missouri.
Okay.
And he took a job as a potter here. And so that's what he had been doing for 20 years. He's subsequently quit his job. He retired early and took it on the road. So he's down in Canton, Texas, selling pottery and different areas and stuff that he does festivals and shows. So I sometimes even get to travel with him now because we have the freedom because I have my own company.
Yeah. And I tell everybody, I say, look, you think that being an entrepreneur is hard. Yes, it can be. But the freedom outweighs everything you could tell me negative about it. The fact that you can get up and just pack up your computer and your phone or whatever and just go anywhere and still work from any corner of the earth. You just can't even explain it. And it's just a feeling of freedom that you just, unless you know, you don't know.
Yeah, no.
So
I didn't know people before I started. I didn't know entrepreneurs. I had an uncle that owned his own company. My mom owned a bakery for a while, but it's not the same thing in this online space. You know,
it is not the same thing. So I want to know if you can just kind of roll the mind back to the day that you said, I think this book needs to be birthed. Roll it back to how you came up with the idea of Wow Factor. We're not even going to talk about this amazing design that you have on here that just like stands out. You got my favorite color yellow on there. Like it says everything happy that I want to see on a book. And you know, you can judge a book by its cover because I'm judging. You look good. So tell me about that journey of birthing this book. I know you've got a couple others, but this book.
You know, again, it was the book that I set aside that I said there's some things that people are missing. Right. So when we're creating these amazing brands, you have your online people. I had my brick and mortar clients, but they were really missing something, but it was in two different directions. So my brick and mortar companies, right? A lot of those, you know, my mom still, I'm sure she just tells her friends that I play Candy Crush for a living. You know, that they just don't understand how you make money in the online space and how you reach across the borders. What does that look like?
It's that get a real job mentality.
It's get a real job, right? That type of thing.
I have a real actual job.
I make money.
Yeah.
You know, my virtual clients, my clients that are online, they had a similar problem, but what they didn't understand is like, hey, you know, you can send postcards to your clients. You know, when I work with coaching with other coaches, you know, it's like, how are you building these connections in real life, in real time? How are you doing that? Right. How are you putting those pieces together? And I think for me, I call it my M&Ms in the book. It's looking for ways that you can make more moments that matter, that are meaningful and memorable.
Yeah.
Right? How do you put that together? And so when I was thinking of the book, it really probably was the first book I started. And it was the last book I finished, because I wanted to put all the pieces in it. How do you build these connections that really matter with your clients? Because we're so focused on funnels, and we're so focused on how many numbers, how many people can you get through, your process, and how long, how quickly can you do it?
Right.
And a lot of these things are building these relationships with people that make them feel like they matter.
Right.
Right. Because most people quit programs because they don't feel like they matter anymore. Like, oh, I haven't heard from them. I haven't had that touch.
Exactly.
So this was the book that really, I wanted clients to understand, right, that you can build these amazing customer experiences, right, that really help you stand out from the crowd, and help you to build this relationship so that you've got a bigger competitive advantage, right? It's something that you need to do for your company regardless of what it is.
Right. You know what you just said is just so true. And that's exactly why in the past I quit programs, because after a while, when you start to realize that you're just a number and you just bought into a system and an automated, something that's just going to be, you're not going to get any human touch. So, I have no problem with automation or anything like that. But at some point, you still need a little bit of some type of human touch, a little bit of something that says, I'm really here to help you. And it's not just a one size really that fits all, because that's just not the truth. It's just, we may all be doing the same thing, but we're doing it in a different way. So the one size that fits all, it may fit 50% for me, but who's going to give me the touch of the other 50%? So what you're saying is just so true. And the title, what made you say wow factor? I know that's kind of like your thing. I know it. Living the dream, the wow. I get it. But what made you put it on the book? Because it's such a perfect title for everything that you wrote in there as I went through all of the chapters.
Because I really wanted people to understand and take a look, how are you connecting, right? What makes you different?
Right.
And it is that wow factor. It's that thing that people do. I've even gone one step further, even since the book. I'm now officially the wowologist.
Ah!
Ooh. So
you got your wow village.
Right.
So, you might as well be the captain of the village and be the wowologist.
But we are creating wows. We want that response from our clients. And that's all simply, it doesn't stand for anything special.
Right.
It stands for that experience that you're giving your clients, where they open up your onboarding package, or they, buy your book or whatever it is, and they're like, wow, I am seen. Right. And I share some great examples in the book of how can you connect in a way that your clients feel seen. They're like, oh my gosh, she wrote this content just for me. She's connecting just for me, because we all do that, right? We go to church on Sunday, and sometimes we think, hey, y'all, I'm glad everybody else showed up, but the preacher was talking to me today.
Specifically. I have been in so many moments like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you were talking to me. You're talking to me, like you're speaking to my soul. So that's really awesome. Tell us about this wow village. Is that a collective of individuals who have bought into yes, I want to wow my clients or my, onboard, employees?
I've worked with a lot of different clients. I work a lot with coaches, mainly, and it's people who have people, though. If you have a membership, if you have something, you're supporting people. This is my way of supporting you. Right. Because sometimes that's the part of it where we think, oh, I want to do these amazing things, but my team is already busy doing all the funnels. Everybody's already busy. So this is a way for us to connect with you to help support you. And so that's the village, right? That's the people that we're putting together and say, hey, what does that look like for you? And it's client-centric focus, right? Client-centric community, putting it together about your clients. You figure that part of it out first, and the rest is magic.
CCC, client-centric community. I like that. What you're saying is so true. And I will make a confession that during when we met, during the pandemic, that was the one thing that you put on my spirit, I have to say, of being able for memberships to go the extra mile. So right around 2021, I started 2022, June of 2022. I started a travel group of ladies for ladies over 45. So we do professional and personal development. And so the one thing that I was thinking, because it's a membership group, what is it? And I got back to thinking about what you said. What is it that we can give them to say thank you for being a member? So I did exactly what you literally taught me, was to create something that said thank you for being a member, without me having to say it again. And so in our box, they have their membership t-shirt, they have their crown for their head, they have their lock for their hotel doors when they're traveling. They have things that can help them with their smartphones to take pictures. If they're going to get in water, they got a waterproof thing. So I'm telling you, our last trip was in May. And when the new members that came on the trip got their box of goodies, they were just like, oh, because it wasn't told, well, if you become a member, you receive this. No, you just received it and you didn't know you were going to receive it. So you taught me that. So I thank you for that. And so that's why I'm saying I believe in what you're doing. I believe in what you're teaching. I believe in what you're showing, because it really does make a difference. It gives people that feeling of, ooh, what's next? Ooh, what's going to happen next? When we renew our membership in 2024, what is she going to pull out of the hat now? So I'm going to call on your help for that, at some point here after this call, but I'm going to call on you for help to see how I can zhuzh it up a little bit, because now I'm looking into the custom boxes. You and I spoke about that. I'm looking into the custom boxes that can have our logo and all of that on it. Right now, we put our logo and all of our signature on it, but I'm looking for the custom boxes, and I've been doing extensive research, and I've come up with some really interesting ways to make it happen. But when we do our 2024 box, I've already kind of figured out what I want to put in there next. And so it's just kind of like, they love that. And so I think that if you can, as I learned in, being a leadership trainer for Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, if you can go the extra mile, you'll see the difference in how people can relate to you, how they want to be a part of your, as you call it, the village, how they want to be a part of that village. So I just love how you put all of these terms together to build a community, like you said, a community of people who believe in what you're saying. So you've got a believer over here in Texas.
Yeah, I love that. And here's that, taking that to the next step, because you have delivered the wows, right? You have put those together, but here's the wow factor, right? Here's where that twist happens, because now you're seen as the business owner, right? You're seen as someone who delivers on that promise. And only you can do it the way that you do it. So people are talking about you, Dawn, whether you hear it, they're saying you have to join Dawn's group. They're out there.
They are saying it, because when they refer
you have
people,
that something special. Right?
Yeah. When they refer people, that's the first thing that they'll tell me. Hey, I was referred by so-and-so, and they said, I've got to be a part of this group because you're doing this and y'all are doing that and y'all are traveling here and you're doing this and you as a leader, blah. And I'm like, oh, I love to hear what people are saying behind my back. I just
but that's the part. That's the wow factor. Right now you have that because it's part of your program. A lot of people do things and they're just like, oh, that's a nice to have, right? Oh, it's nice to send your pin with a logo. It's a nice to have. It's not part of your program. And once you bake this into being a part of your program, now it's a level that's expected. Right. But you can deliver it. It can be so easy. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated.
Right.
Do super, super simple things. Right.
That's so true. So tell me about some of the exciting things that you have created to give those companies a way to present the wow factor. And if you can start with like the most amazing thing that even you do this all the time, but there's one thing that you were like, oh, this is cool.
I love this is cool.
Yeah.
We can always do that. I can share some great examples. One of the things that I really, really have enjoyed, I'm not sure if I've got it at my fingertips, but one of the things that we've done is digital brochures. And I don't know if you've seen the digital brochures, but the digital brochures are amazing.
Yeah, I've seen them. They kind of are like the digital magazines.
They're kind of like the digital magazine. Well, I'll tell you the cool thing. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to put my hand on it. Of course, it's like one of those deals. But the cool thing with it is you can actually, and I researched the company that I use for 6 months. So, I mean, I did some heavy duty research before I developed it. But what this brochure does, it's actually a video that's inside of a brochure that you send in the mail.
Okay.
And in that video, you can have all of your information. You can have, whatever event you're promoting. You can have all video footage from that. You
So
can utilize it.
it's a flyer or a brochure that you open up and then how do we talk about moving?
Okay, here's a small one that I have. I did put my hand on this one. So
Okay.
this is a brochure. So I'm going to open it up, and it actually plays.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen those at expos. Yeah. I like that.
Okay.
I really like that. I gotta write that
The
down.
cool thing with it,
that would be so cool.
And there's different ways that you can use these kind of products, right? So with this, maybe it's something that you are promoting an event that just happened, right? Or maybe you're taking it to the next step. So you can actually record, you can actually record video from your event,
right?
And then put it into this brochure. The cool thing that I like I said, with this particular company that I am a vendor for, they actually have a setup so that I can send it back to you, the coach, and you can actually put another video on top of it that says, "Hey, Dawn, we love that you were at our event. We've got another event coming up in January. We would love to see you there."
Okay.
And you can personalize it on top of what's already recorded. So it's this way of being able to connect. Or maybe you've got people coming into a retreat or an event, they're flying in. Maybe this is something when you have the car pick them up at the airport, they now get this, and it tells them all the things that's going to happen over the weekend. So now when they're driving in the car, they can set and review everything that's going to happen, and it gets them totally excited. This is not something they're going to throw away. They're going to pack this back. They're going to show other people and talk about it, which are the kind of things that you want to put into your box, right?
Absolutely. When I used to do a magazine, one thing I'd always put content in there and information in there where it would have what they call a shelf life. So I have people even now, here we are 10 years later, telling me, "I still have your magazines on my bookshelf." And I'm like, that was 2010. Thank you. That's awesome. It's like I have
it's amazing.
too, but it's amazing to have something that has a shelf life, because we like to collect those things like that because they give us, for me, it gives me inspiration. I won't speak for other people, but those type of things give me inspiration.
Sure.
I like that.
And I think
I like that. That would be a great marketing tool. That would be a great marketing tool. We were just talking about digital marketing yesterday, one of my business partners, and we were talking about direct mail and all of that. That would be so perfect for a couple of projects that we're working on right now. So I'm definitely going to talk to you about that, because when I tell her that, she's going to be like, "Whoa, that's next level." But that's what we're looking for, though, is we're looking for that next level way to be able to market. Email campaigns are wonderful. Direct mail campaigns are wonderful. But if you could take it up a notch, now you've got some shelf life as well. Right. You're going to get noticed. Even if you just get a phone call of inquiry, that's better than, dollars spent and zero inquiries.
Yeah, no, I get it. And people, like I said, people really, really enjoy that. It is that wow, right? Are you reaching that wow? And it doesn't have to be, that's probably a higher end. That's probably a really big wow. I'm going to share a wow with you that I share in the book, and you've read the book so that you know about this one.
Yeah.
About 5 or 6 years ago now, I was in an event in Austin, Texas, and at the event, right, there was a lady. Her name was Heather Gray. She was speaking on staying in your own lane. She's a mindset coach, right? So before she spoke, they brought out these big boxes, and inside the boxes were Hot Wheels, right? So this Hot Wheel, I got to pick it out, right? So it was a memento, which is so important when you're creating things like this. It was a memento. This does not have her logo, does not have her branding anywhere on it. But Dawn, I knew where I was. I know who was speaking. I know what her topic was 5 years later.
Right.
Memorable. This isn't crazy expensive, but she tied it to her speech. So I've taken a step. One of the things that I do is talk about creating amazing client experiences that are unique, right? That are something different. And I've tied that in whenever I go to a retreat or an event, or I'm asked to speak, at a keynote. I use a Rubik's Cube, because that's what I've developed my talk around, is how you use the Rubik's Cube. in this development of you can create anything new because it has your twist on it. So, but that's something that I give out, right? So looking for those things that matter to your clients, right? That connect the pieces, that's like taking that to that next level. That's like figuring out what is it that they want. I know the example that you just shared, the things that were in that with the lock for the door, all of those things, you have taken it from the client's perspective. What do they want from you, right? I will even go as far, and this is anti-marketing, but here's the deal. If it's got your logo on it, chances are it's not a gift.
Right.
Right?
Right.
If it's got your logo on it, it doesn't mean you can't have your logo, but does it connect to your client in such a way that it's something that they want to do? I share in the book about Russell Brunson.
Right.
I was able to speak with Russell. This is something that's happened since the book. I actually was at a symposium and Russell was delivering the keynote.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, Russell Brunson has a program called ClickFunnels, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And during his program, at some point, you have earned, right, the right to get a free t-shirt from him. You've gone far enough in the program, it's attached to a milestone.
Okay.
You get a t-shirt that says Funnel Hacker because it's self-identifying with the wearer, right? Like the person is the funnel hacker because they've gone through ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
So that twist, I asked Russell, everybody was asking him, got to ask him questions. They were talking about the funnels. They were talking about all the things. I said, Russell, I need to know about the t-shirt. So I could tell probably nobody had ever asked him about the t-shirt before, but I wanted to know, did you know how brilliant that was? Did you understand when you guys first started what an impact that was going to make?
Right.
And he said, no, he really didn't. He said, in fact, now every t-shirt that they design and put out there, they do an IMA test. So I'm a funnel hacker. I'm a, whatever the program is, because that identifies the wearer identifies with the message on the shirt. Now, what that does for Russell and for other people who embrace this idea is that now this is the t-shirt that's not going to go down to the thrift store, right? It's not going to end up in the garage sale. This is a coveted item. I told him, I said, do you know you can't even go on eBay and buy one of these used? Because people, it's something that they attach themselves to. That's the wow factor. That's that piece that takes it to that next level where people are going, that's amazing.
Right. So if you're in public and you see someone in that t-shirt and happen to be in that t-shirt and you're in 2 different states, you're like, they had to go to the event that I went to. So now we have something in common. Let me ask you a question.
Oh, absolutely.
On that item that you just showed, the digital brochure, give our audience just a little bit of and we're not going to hold you to specifics, but give them an idea of what something like that costs from development, design to in the mailbox.
You're probably going to look at an investment of somewhere, depending on what you're doing. We typically do a minimum of 25 of anything. And we do that for a couple of different reasons. One is we want to be able for you to test it, and we feel like 25 is a good number. Yeah. The size I showed you there, and like I said, it depends on the size. They've got larger ones too.
No, I like that size because that's very handheld. I like that one.
It's very handheld. It goes right in your purse. I love it for the same thing. You're going to be talking probably $100, $125 a piece, depending on what it is and what has to be together. Now, that does not include the video. The video production is completely on you. We get final files from that, but it does include us designing the cover, putting together, all of this, having your name and information on this. It comes in a box. It has a recharger with it as well, so they can actually recharge it. It's USB charger on it. But this is something that, like I said, that they're going to keep. And so it's got that extra piece, that longevity that you want to bake into your program. It could be a how-to video. You could take your YouTube videos and transfer it over to this. And this one, let me see if this one does. This one actually has all these different buttons that you can do and change the video. Okay. You can actually change it over to 5 different programs of video that you want them to see. So you could use a variety of things that you have, and it has record. I mean, it's just a cool product. But again, probably $125 a piece for those. Okay. And that's probably all in. Like I said, we'd have to kind of go through it, but it's not crazy expensive, especially if you've got a larger program. If you've got a 10K, a 20K program that you're bringing your people into, I tell them this, Dawn, look
Yeah.
at whatever you've got, wherever you are, and see if you can do a 5 to 10% payback into your client. Invest back into them
Yeah.
and make it a part of your program. So let's say you have a $10,000 program and you're going to want to do this. Make it a $1,250 a $12,000 program, and have a couple $100 baked into this for you to be able to do these amazing connection pieces.
Exactly.
And there's all different ways, and I'm going to surprise you. I don't even think we've even talked about this, but I will give you a link for your audience. I have a free PDF download that gives 14 different ways that you can connect with your clients, different times.
Awesome. We're going to put that down in the description bar,
we'll put that
along with your social media, along with your website that you're going to tell us in the end. But all of that link and everything, please give it to me so that I'll put it down in the description bar so that they can just go there and they can then connect with you. Because I do know that I'll have people, when I interview people, I'll have folks that will, DM me and say, hey, that person you had on, go to the description bar. Everything is there. If you want to put a link to a video or anything like that, that would be so cool. But yeah, I was very curious about that, just so that they would have just kind of an idea of how that happens. So that's pretty good. 100 and a quarter. So you got 25 people, maybe $3,000 total by the time you get it done. And then they still got to account for shipping and all of those things if you want to put it in the mail. But that is pretty cool. So I'm going to take it that when there's a conference that's happening that kind of talks about all of these different marketing things, are you the girl that's there?
I'm speaking and teaching and training. That's one of the things that came on the backside of the book.
Yeah.
The book did a couple of things for me that I think I wasn't prepared for, right? I was prepared for the information out there.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for this to be a launching pad for what's next, right?
But we talked about it.
I know.
When you and I were writing our book, I said, you can take a book and you can spin it 12 different ways. I said, you got your speaking, you got your conferences, you've got your commentator, you got your interviews. We talked about, but now you see.
Now you see it, right? And so
now you see it. That's beautiful.
I'm being invited to teach and train at events. I'm being able to come in and really kind of work through this wow factor piece for them to figure out where do they build their connections and how do they do it better, because it's got some benefit to it. That, like, again, this isn't a nice to have. This is selling your people on the next thing, right? In your funnel, this is the next piece, like putting the things together so that you can build these connections, whether you do it yourself, whether you hire somebody like me to come in and do it for you. We actually do. And this kind of takes us to the next level. And I'm probably jumping ahead, but when we do these welcome boxes, Dawn, we're not only just helping design or work with your teams to design them, we're actually doing warehousing and order fulfillment on the back side of that. One of the things, and we ship out everything, we track it, we do all of those pieces. So we've developed this on the backside of that book. So that's another thing that came from the book. And you know what? It held me accountable. I will tell you, that's the fun thing with this book is because now I basically have my own Bible, right? I basically have the thing that I know.
The blueprint. You got the blueprint.
The blueprint. This is the thing that I have my 5 pillars are baked into that book. And this is, I know what it is that I stand. If I forget, it's like, hey, does it match the wow factor? Does it actually come through and help you to create this amazing moment for your clients?
Exactly. And you know what? People may hear that and go, well, but why do you need to put a blueprint together when you are the blueprint maker? It's good to have a reference, because down the road, there may be a wow factor too, because you're learning every single day. So by having our own blueprint, and I love that in the book, you have sections where you can take notes. I told you I never write a book without being able to have a section where you can write your notes and all of that. So being able to have that where you can go in, and because me, as I'm reading, I'm going to have a piece of paper next to me that I can do notes, and I can stick that in the book so that when something pops up in my head, I can go and pull that book as a reference guide to be able to say, okay, this is who I need to be able to look for when I'm looking at information. So thank you for doing that in the book, because for me, that's important to have in any book that I'm going to purchase or that I'm going to read through or I'm going to review or anything like that. So I know you said that you have 3 books. I know we have a book together. Okay. And then I know you have the wow factor. And then what's the name of the other book?
The other book is 31 branding breakthroughs that every entrepreneur needs to know.
Okay,
And
give us three. You didn't send me that one, but give me three. Just
I
three.
didn't send that.
31.
Here's what
I love it. We could do a whole show on that, but okay.
we could do a whole
Give
show on that all
Give us
together.
three.
That was actually, I had that as a PDF download that I had done forever, and it turned into a beautiful, beautiful book. We're going to re-release it this fall. It's going to be re-released, but we had it's kind of the coffee table book, right? And it's all the different ways that you can connect and kind of go through.
Maybe she'll send me the PDF, guys. If she doesn't send me the physical, she knows I like to touch my books and caress my books.
I know.
You put my books next to me. I am a physical book reader. I love it. Okay.
Right. So this is one of the pieces. This one is it's all the rage. What are your customers saying? Right.
Yeah.
People are more likely to buy from you if they can see what others like them who others like them are patronizing your business.
True.
Get testimonials from happy customers and put it on your website or social media to drive more sales.
True.
You can request an email, or even better yet, ask them to do a quick video on their smartphone.
Exactly.
The more authentic, the better, right? You can ask them to even use your product in the video.
I love it.
Right? These are things that people, they think about it, but they haven't done it, right? They haven't, like, I'm going to do that. When I'm big, I hear that all the time. When I'm bigger, I'm going to send out welcome boxes, right? When I'm bigger, we're going to do success kits.
And I think the reason
you can start,
Tammy, I think the reason people say that is because, and that's why I wanted to backtrack and have you to give them a little bit of an idea of what something like that costs. Because let me tell you something, if you listen to the majority of people who talk about these boxes, they make you think that you need at least a $10,000 investment to do anything. They don't even say, like what you said, well, start small with 25 people, and here's what it typically is going to cost. They make it seem like, well, if you're not doing a $10,000 volume, then you're not going to make an impact. So I feel like just because of the clients that I deal with, I feel like that's their hesitation with it, is because they've been fed that they've got to have a $10,000 marketing budget to do anything. When it's like, can we at least crawl before we walk?
Right. And that's one of the reasons that we start with the 25, because, here, and it fits into a couple different things. If you're just getting started, right? Yeah. Again, this is a beta test. This is something that's like, okay, we're going to do this. And if we don't like the book that's in it, we don't like the items, then we will come in and we will change those things up for you. Right.
Exactly.
So you have that. And also, if you have 1,000 people, maybe you don't want to do something for 1,000 people. You've already got 1,000 people in your program. So pick your top 25.
Exactly.
Right. Do for one what you can't do for everyone. And so as you're doing it, then you're building that. And so then maybe the new people who come on the back side of that, that you can do something for them. So like I said, a 25, a lot of that's in minimums, depending on how many things that we order, depending on what you're wanting in the box. And this isn't something that's a pre-made kit, right? You see that out there a lot. You know, you can order, here's your kit, and you can send that gift. This is something that we've actually, when you decide to work with me, we have a coffee chat, 15, 20 minutes coffee chat. When you take the next step, I have a $250 consultation that we do 1 hour, where I look at all your materials. We come up with the ideas based on the earlier conversations of how you come together with the next project, how we're putting that together, what matters. And then if we decide to do a box together, then we do a box together, or we do something else. But I have these steps that you can come in, and maybe you decide, hey, we've done this. I can do it myself. I can take it from here. That's great. You can totally do that.
Right.
I have clients that do that all the time. I also have clients that come back and say, I ain't got time.
Right.
This is crazy. So we do everything where all of a sudden my client's just sending us a CSV file with the addresses and everything on it. And we take it from there, and we're shipping everything out and tracking it. Yeah, so we make it so that this is super easy to say yes to, right? And so it's super easy for you to build that wow factor with your clients or your members.
And I don't know if they heard you say this, but I'm going to repeat it for you. You won't have to have all of this inventory if you guys are doing all the shipping and all the warehousing and all of that. That's another fear that I hear people say, well, if I order 10,000, I'm just talking about the boxes here, but if I order 10,000 boxes and I've spent that in investment, and I'm going to have 10,000 boxes stacked up in my home or in my garage or storage or whatever, going to get dusty. And it's just like, let's crawl before we walk. If you're going to order 10,000 boxes, you need to have those 10,000 addresses where you can get those shipped out in less than 30 days. So you're not housing 10,000 boxes in your house. So I love that you have this. And that's what's so wonderful about being a small business owner, is that we have these ideas of how we can still get in. I like to say get in where we can fit in, because we don't have to do the 10,000 to make an impact. You can still make an impact with 25 people, because when you make that impact with 25 people, like you just explained, then you bring in more clients, then your budget grows, then you can now bring in 50 people with your marketing. So I believe in that. Start small and grow from there, because as entrepreneurs, we've been taught that we have to do that anyway, because we don't have the corporate budgets that a lot of the big corporate companies would have. So that's exciting that you have the corporate companies that you've worked with that have the infinity budget, some of them, and then you have your small business companies that are like, here's what I can spend, tell me what I can get for that amount of money, and then go from there and work with their budgets. So that's pretty cool. So tell everybody where they can find you online. Let them know what your social media is. And then what I want to do is I want to get into one more thing in the book.
Okay. So you can reach me on my website is wowtammy.com/book. That's a great place to start. That also has the PDF that we're going to give them the link to and stuff later, also on that page. Online, I'm Wow Tammy almost everywhere.
And she's
Wow
always
Tammy.
there going like that. And like,
I'm always going like that.
Yeah, living the dream, her favorite.
Living the dream, doing
Yep.
all the things. And we love it. You know, those are the pieces that we actually have put together for our clients.
Right.
And we want to be able to do the things that really wow them too. Right?
Exactly. Now, the last thing, and I want you to share anything else that you want us to know about the book, about the methods in the book, but I want to know about this Wow Village. I want to know, like, when you come up with your cool names and building this centric community that you talk about, tell me about this Wow Village. And when I say tell me about it, tell me about some of the great, without mentioning names, of course, or companies or anything, but tell me some of the great people that you've been able to run into that have inspired and sparked some newness in you to say, you know what, we can do that.
You know, I'm going to share a story that, like I said, that's not out in the book.
Okay.
That I really kind of like. During the pandemic, during some of that, I jumped on some of the websites or some of the, I would be able to think what it's called now. Lost my train. Some of the audio programs and stuff that we had.
Right.
So we were able to go in and do programs and stuff that way and chat online.
Yeah.
So when I was in that program, there was something that I spoke about where I was coming in and talking about the wow factor.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lady in the audience who was the director of a not-for-profit, and they were serving parents of autistic children. That was their market that they've been doing for decades. And based off the back of my talk, you know, we spoke for, you know, briefly. I gave her some ideas, never thought another thing about it. Well, about 2 or 3 weeks later, she came back into another room that I was hosting, and she said, I have to tell you, she said, based on the conversation that we had, she said, I went back to my team and we put together this wow box and we sent it out to all the parents. And she said 2 things happened. She said, first of all, they started calling in, right? She said, because they were telling us they had felt unseen and unconnected with the entire pandemic. And that they didn't feel like that they were connected in any way to anybody that understood. They couldn't go to meetings anymore. They couldn't do the things that they were used to doing.
Yeah.
And this box pulled them back into the fold. And they said, you know, thank you so much, because now we have this, you know, and it wasn't something that was crazy expensive. It was something they were able to DIY themselves.
Yeah.
She said the second thing that happened is she said they started getting donations. They started getting donations from people because they all of a sudden, they were sharing the box, they were sharing the story, right? Of what had happened, and that people had come in and they had sent this amazing box to them.
Right.
And I had cold chills, Dawn. I mean, it was that kind of thing where it makes a difference. So it takes it from swag. I say swag is stuff without a goal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't send swag.
Right.
Then something that is going to
I don't
matter.
even like when they use that name for events. So if you pay this amount, if you pay, you know, $100, you get a swag bag. And I'm like, I don't like that word.
Right. Well, and it's, like I said, it makes it so that it's not connected, right? It makes it so I have connected with people in my village, in the world here, that I never expected to connect that way, right? I know it's fun and I love what I do. I absolutely come up with all the ideas, you know, putting everything together. How can we connect? Who's your client? I'll share another story with you that again is that kind of piece that we're actually connecting with. I
Yes.
had a client come to me and she said, Tammy, she said, I've got $1,000 program. She said, I'm sending out stuff, but it's not really connecting with my clients. They're not talking about it on social media like you teach, right? They're not
Right.
doing the things. And I said, well, I know that you work with mompreneurs, right? Moms from work at home. And she said, yes. And I said, what are you sending them? She said, I'm sending them a sticker with my logo on it to go on their laptop.
Mhm.
And I'm sending them a handwritten note. Both are fine. That's a fine. That you've acknowledged, thank you for joining our membership. But I
Right.
said, what if instead you sent these moms a single chocolate chip cookie, right? With the message, this is the cookie you don't have to share with anyone,
Mm.
right?
Mm. And if you're a mom,
So
you know what that means because
you
you
know
share
that. You know
everything
that
with your
story.
kids. They want a piece of everything.
Everything, right? A piece of everything for decades.
Every crumb.
So if you can see your clients in a way, right, that it matters to them, then you're building this relationship, right? And it's a longer game. It's one of those things, but as soon as they're seeing it, if you can do something that's really crazy cool that they can share on social media, then
Right.
they're out there talking about you. They're building these pieces. So, the people that I work with that kind of come in, they're heart centric, right? They're people who want to do something. I meant to send out the Christmas cards and now it's July. I meant to do the things that I wanted to do, but I didn't send the birthday card. What are all the things that you're doing? How are you connecting? Everybody has, I don't care what business you have done.
Yeah.
Everybody has at least 3 places that you can connect with your client. And I'll give you that one, right?
Right.
It's at the beginning, it's at the middle, and it's at the end.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Everybody has, regardless of what you're selling. Even if you have a 15-minute interaction with somebody, you have those opportunities to build that wow in there where they're going, this is amazing. What must it be like to work with you?
Right.
Right? Because
Right.
this is so amazing. And those are the experiences that we're looking at.
Absolutely.
Right? Does that answer your question? Does that kind of get to the end of it?
That is absolutely everything you just said. I'm just like, yeah. And by the way, you just made me want a chocolate chip cookie, but but yeah,
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you being on here to talk about the wow factor. And the reason I had to have you on here specifically is because I don't want to just keep the people hidden that I know that offer wonderful things to the world. I want to be able to share that with other women. We've built a really nice community of women, women in business. And, the show is called Mother-Daughter Issues because we want the women that are doing their thing to also show their daughters and young women things that they can do. And I think that our group of young women that are in business between the ages of 21 and 28, they really can learn from you to be able to do the things that somebody my age, we're just learning to do those things. We're just figuring it all out. Whereas they've already got all the information and all the technology and all the things that they can see. Like someone else would look at that one product that you showed and went like, oh, that's over the top. But I'm looking at it like, that's next level. I like that. I like the size of it. It's hand size. You can, like you said, put it in your purse or your diaper bag or your backpack or whatever and go on about your business. And when you get some time to sit down and look through it, you feel so special because you don't even think in your mind this went out to 1,000 other people. You're like, this came to me. At least that's how I am. I look at everything as like, this was for me type of thing. So I thank you for all the great work that you are doing. Tammy, is there one last thing that you would like to share with the audience? And is there one last thing that you would like to share where they could reach out to you to say, hey, help me create my wow factor for my company?
No, absolutely. One of the things that I really have held dear to my heart as I work with other people, and that is this, when you're reaching out to your clients, your memberships, your people that you're supporting, right? Churches, I mean, there's all sorts of different groups and stuff where people support other people. Look for ways that you can motivate, inspire, or celebrate your clients, right? Look at those pieces. How can you do that? Because that's truly what helps create more moments that matter, right? We put that and bake that into our program because at the end of the day, it's really how you do business is more important than what it is you even sell.
Right.
Right. Let that sink in for a minute. Yeah. Right. How you do business. That's what you're going to be remembered by. That's how you're going to be, how you're making other people feel. Right. That's all. I love that quote. it's so important on how you make other people feel that are connected with you. That's what's going to help you stand out. There's no competition anymore, Dawn. There's no competition because nobody can compete with you.
Exactly.
You've built it your way.
I like that. I really do like that. And I think what really resonates with me is that going the extra mile part. For me, that's the end result, is the going the extra mile. And that's everything that you've said. That's what it says to me, is going that extra mile. Well, thank you, Tammy, for being on the show today, and I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Make sure you send me all the links that we need to put down in the description bar so they can bombard
you with
questions or comments or even an email. You know, some people like to just maybe send an email. If you could send that information for the description bar, that would be absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
And my last question, I know I said that was, but I just keep having more. So I want to know what's next. What's next for Blue Water Designs? What's next for Tammy Fink? What's next for Wowing?
Well, this is something I've been working on for a while, and I don't have a date. Like I said, we've done some preliminary work on it. I'm in Branson, Missouri, which for those of you who haven't been to Branson or whatever, it is like we're in the middle of nowhere and halfway to everywhere, and it is the vacation central, right? We're like Vegas without the strippers.
Very, very true.
It's kind of what it is. It's amazing. I want to have events in Branson for people who want to do events. So that you can come in and learn how to build these connections with people. I want to have guest speakers that come in, but it's kind of like a weekend that you can come. We'll bring it in, we'll host it, everything here, and then we'll bring in all the experts and stuff on events, on things, putting things together, their experiences, and let people learn from other people who are doing events. And it's a unique place. It's a unique opportunity. So that's the big 30,000 foot view of this. This is really where I want to come in and make a difference for people and be able to host them here in small groups and be able to help them to create amazing experiences.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And, you know, I definitely will talk to you further about what you do, because we've got about 1,200 vendors for an event that we're doing in Vegas in 2025. We're doing a big travel expo. And a lot of those travel agents and all of that are looking at how they can make a difference in their businesses. And I think that they need to know more about what it is that you're doing. I'm not a travel agent. I'm just a travel enthusiast, but our consumer show is going to be riddled with travel agents and people like Carnival and folks like Southwest Airlines and all of anybody connected to the travel industry will most likely have a vendor table there. So for them to learn about the wow factor, I may need to have you come in as a speaker and say, hey, you want to get more people on your boat? Then maybe you need to do a little something different. You want to get folks to fly your airline a little bit more. You want folks to stay in your hotel. You know, because one thing that's so funny to me is that you have these wonderful hotels. I don't care if they're 5-star or beyond. You stay at the hotel, you bring events into their hotel, you bring your travel group there, but there's nothing but a receipt. There's no, here's a cookie for your time. You know, you brought in 16 ladies. You guys spent well over $20,000, you know, 30, sometimes $90,000. You know, here's a voucher. Next time you stay in one of our partner hotels, enjoy the exclusive spa or something. So for me, the stage that I am in life now, I'm looking for a little bit of extra something. If I'm bringing you, like, for example, we've got 75 graduating children for 2024, young adults, I should say, the class of 2024 in Texas. We're taking several school graduates to Japan in June, right? Wow. So what I did is I reached out to the tourism and consulate department in Japan. I've been to Japan before, so I reached out to the tourism division and say, we're bringing in 75 kids for the graduation trip. And, you know, we'd like to know how you'd like to support us on this trip for bringing the trip. They got back to me with, we'll connect you here. We'll do this. We'll connect there. They've sent me stuff. And I'm like, that's the little extra that I'm looking for. You know, we're bringing this group of kids, you know, to explore and look at the history and to have a great time. Is there something that you can do to say thank you for thinking of us? So I love what you do, because that's the thank you for thinking of us, or me specifically, that I'm looking for a little something extra for not only giving to my clients, but also receiving as a consumer when I'm patronizing and doing things with other people. So that's why I think what you do is so important. So thank you for sending me my own personal copy of the wow factor. The only thing, Tammy, when I went through the book, I did not get your signature. I was like, why is my book not signed? So here's the deal. The next time you find yourself rolling through Katy, Texas, or I find myself over in Missouri, now I won't be coming this October because I'll actually be in Thailand with the travel group. I'll be in Thailand, but I'll be rolling through. Usually we go to Eureka Springs, but then I find myself always over in Branson, kind of like you said, it's like it's like the Vegas of, you know. So we go over there and we have a little fun, get on the go-karts and all that type of stuff. But I really thank you for sending it to me, but I also feel very, very special that I got an opportunity to spend quite a few months with you before and a little bit into the pandemic, working on a couple of things that we're going to work on. So I got a chance to get to know you as far as what you like to do in business and how you really, really care about the clients that you work with, and the fact that you get very, very involved to the point that you're like, okay, well, wait a minute, we could do it this way, because you bring in your expertise to it. And that's what people need, is to understand your expertise. And once they can figure that out, I think they'll be a student like me and say, I remember what she said about this. I remember how she said, you know, this should be done. So I'll definitely be tapping into some of your sources of how I can even go the extra mile with the way I'm wanting to grow the travel group that I have, you know, and things like that. I do a lot for my consulting clients right now, but with the travel group, it's just a different genre of ladies that I'm working with. And we do want to promote our group. And I just love that mailing digital brochure that you just had. Is pretty awesome. So thank you so much for, let me ask you this. So do you also help put campaigns together that if somebody wanted to do a digital brochure, but do it in an email campaign, do you also set those type of things up?
You know, I have not done that. I probably have connections with people too, with something we can certainly talk about, because that's one of the things. I like to meet people who I know have specialty fields. And so I know people all over the place. And so it's not something that, like I said, that we focus on. Mainly the big focus for us right now are these onboarding welcome boxes, these success kits that we put together, and they can be amazing. You have like just a second, I'll show you one.
Okay. Yes. We all want to see it. We have time. This is your time.
I love that. Let me show you this.
Okay.
This is a wow factor with a client. Let me get this up in here.
All right.
So,
beautiful. Wow.
Thank you. I worked with their branding and stuff, putting this together, designed it, put it all together. This was for a virtual event. Okay. So this wasn't even a live event. We put the boxes together, we shipped them to all the clients, and they had them before their event opened. So everybody got the same box.
I love it.
We open it up here. We took her digital workbook and we put it into a physical workbook.
Yes.
Right? So people can follow along with her program. It's full color, beautiful, beautiful work there. With something she already had, we just reutilized it.
Right.
She wanted all of her people to read Brene Brown's book.
Right.
And so this was a book that we included in there for them.
Right.
We also we put in a branded essential oils.
Okay. Yes.
For all of her people. And then she actually had a mixologist come in, and we included a recipe card, and everyone got their own mixer. So they had a cocktail hour, right?
Yeah.
Virtually.
Yeah.
Right. So we took this, put it together, shipped it out to all of her clients.
Right.
And they all had it. So in everybody's home, it smelled the same because they all had the essential oils.
Right.
They were able to actually engage and work with somebody else who was online doing their mixing drinks. They had to go buy their, their liquor, their alcohol, whatever that was. And they had that. It was part of this interactive experience. Right. So that was something that we had done just for a client. It's amazing to build this, like I said, as part of your business, because it is those things. It's that wow factor.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna reach out to you, because that's one of the things I'm putting together in my head and on paper for the kids that we're going to be taking to Japan. I want to give them their box, and we've got sponsors that have given certain things, like even the Napoleon Hill Foundation. They're giving them a copy of the 17 Keys to Success so that they can go on and, now that they're going to be out of school and they'll be on their own in college and all of that. And they're giving them a copy of Think and Grow Rich. So in the box is going to be, we have a company that's giving them a pair of socks. We've got the 2 books. We've got the itinerary of what we're doing in Japan. We've got the, we have a company that's going to give them the 360 cameras. So
Yes.
I reached out and gotten sponsors for all of this. And then I'm trying to think of what kind of little snack I could give the kids. I don't really know what they like yet. So when I do a couple of more presentations, I'm going to find out what kind of snacks the kids like. Now, if it was up to me, they'd get popcorn because that's my favorite snack. But I do have a popcorn company that I'm reaching out to for sponsorship. So that box gave me new life just now. It was beautiful.
Oh.
And I loved what was in it. And it was just so, for a virtual event, that to me would have been worth all of the signing up for the virtual event. Because I just did an event on a virtual event called She Podcast, and I was one of the speakers. And I cannot wait to tell her, because she's got the event coming up next year. I cannot wait to tell her, hey, I need to connect you with Tammy, because it'd be great that if you end up doing this event virtually again, we could all get a packet or some kind of thing.
Sure.
Because she didn't know she was going to have to turn it virtual until almost 6 months into it, low sales or whatever. It was like, okay, now we got to turn it into virtual, but people had already paid $500 to go. So It was like, that's why when it was time for me to do my speaking part, I made it so dynamic that it was like, I got to make sure I deliver, because this went from being at a resort in DC to in your home resort.
Right.
So it was really, really cool. But having something like that, I'm going to reach out to Jessica and tell her, hey, let me give you a contact. So make sure I get that information for that. But
I will do it.
Thank you so much, Tammy. And I appreciate you sharing everything that you have. And if you do find someone that can do the example of what I was just talking about, let us know, because this was a conversation that I had with my business partner for about 3 hours last night about, okay, we looked at all the 15 things that we're doing. And then we said, okay, now we need to activate this, this, and this, because everything that we're doing, of course, is going to be leading up to our 2025 big travel expo that we're doing in Las Vegas. And we're not just going to do it in Las Vegas every year. We're going to travel it around to different cities. Like you said, we may come to, Branson, because Branson, let me tell you, audience, Branson is a fun place to go. It is very fun to take your family. It's fun to take yourself. They've got all kinds of things that you can do there. Our group ends up in Eureka Springs, and we drive all the way 45 minutes to an hour over just to go and have a little bit of extra fun. So if you find yourself thinking, where can we go? Last time I was there, I got to stay in the Elvis Hotel. So we've had a really great time coming to, and I've been coming to Eureka Springs since 2014, and I always seem to wiggle my way over to Branson for at least a day of fun. Last time I came for 2 or 3 days and stayed in Branson before I even got to my event, just because it's such a fun place to be. So I think the event that you're talking about producing there, I think it'll go off very, very well, because when people go to Las Vegas, they think, okay, I'm going to get whatever I came here to get, but then I'm going to get some fun too. That's the same thing in Branson. They can go there to get what they came to get, but they can also then make it a family affair where they could bring their family, especially if it's going to be a multi-day event. So let me know whenever you decide to start kicking that off, because we would love to help you to get the message out about that as well. But I'm also going to kind of poke you about maybe meeting us in Vegas and being one of our special speakers to talk to all of these different consumer groups about how they can take their companies to the next level and promote as well. So thank you, Tammy. Anything you want to say last before we let you go? Let the mothers and daughters know anything else.
I absolutely love, and I want to tell you just between me and you as well, and everybody else that's listening.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm going to recommend, there's a new restaurant in Eureka Springs. So I'm going to have to tell you about that. And
okay, please do.
It's called So Good. Right? It's like, and she's amazing. Here's the deal. I just shared with you something because I had this amazing experience with that restaurant, and I was so willing to just be able to share you and tell you about it. Here's the thing. That's the kind of things that we're looking at creating in our own businesses. What is it going to be that's going to be so easy for somebody to share and say, oh my gosh, you have to go here. We've all had brands that we know, like, and trust. We all like brands that we love. We've also had bad experiences. What if you take your brand to the next level? You have that wow factor built into your business, whatever business it is, and you can connect with people in a way that they're going to say, oh my gosh, I have to tell you, right?
I just found it. I'm going to send that out. I'm going to send that out to my group today, because that's one thing that we always look for when we go to Eureka Springs. We patronize all of the same ones that we've been going to, but I'm going to let them know about So Good, because I won't be able to go this year because I'll be in Thailand, but I'll send it out to the group, because they usually have 300 or 400. I know they don't want 300 or 400 people and bombarding them, but I'll send that out on the Facebook group to let them know about the restaurant, because we're always looking for great places to eat where we're going to get good service, good food, and we'll return there. And since our group goes there every single year, right along with the motorcycle groups and right along with the Porsche group and all the other fast cars, we always look for great places to have food. And I found my little picky ones that I like to go to. I even have a food truck there that I like, and what's it called? Soup and salad or something like that. Soups and salads to go or something. And it's a retired lady, and she moved from, I think, in Texas somewhere, and she went there to retire. And she said, well, I can't just sit around. So she got her food truck started, and I'm telling you, she has some of the best soups, some of the best salads and sandwiches you've ever had. And I told her the first time I ate there, I said, I can tell this is made with love. So every time I come here, I'm coming back to you every time. So I've kind of built a relationship with her. So thank you for sharing so good with us. You're because welcome. We're always looking for great places to go. And you're right. You want to be top of mind when people think of something that they need. So if they need food, they want to think of you. If they need a product or a service to do what you do, they want to think of Tammy Fink. So that's really awesome. Well, thank you, Tammy. I have enjoyed having you on here. As always enjoy talking with you. But let's not stay away from talking for so long. I know we survived the last few years.
We did. So we made it through.
We got to connect more, and anything that you're wanting to let us know about, anything new or any new books or whatever, hey, keep us posted and let us know. And we got to have you back on the show, simply because you're continuing to do what you love to do. And I love speaking with people that are like me and love doing what they do. So thank you for being on the show today.
You're so welcome.
And I appreciate you saying yes to sending me a copy of the book so that I could dig in and get it. And I love a physical book, so you sending it to me in a physical sense, it made all the difference in the world for me getting to the mailbox and going, perfect. Ooh, I have a gift.
I love that. Thank you so much, Dawn.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic weekend.
I will.
All righty. Thank you.
Uh-huh.